My name is Mitch Blaschke, and I'm a mechanic here on Parker's site. I run Miller 325 Trailblazer with the diesel power, and I not only use it as a welder but also a power source out here. I started welding actually with a Miller 200 when I was about 10 years old in my dad's shop. He still has a welder today, and I've always been a fan of Millers, and they've done real good for me. We're in the middle of nowhere out here, so we have to have reliable equipment, and that 325 has never given me one problem. We're on rough roads, just jarring the equipment around all day, and you know, it just takes the abuse. I've worked on everything from having to weld steel lines on hydraulic hoses back together to we're welding 1-inch plate. So that welder's getting used in all ranges, and you know, you can dial it down and weld on almost nothing, or you can turn her up and weld on some pretty heavy steel with no trouble. With this big equipment, you got to have a little bit more heat, and you know, that welder, I can dial it right in and get everything patched right back up and running in no time. The tunability of it, I mean, you can pull that welder out, grab whatever size rod you need, and adjust it right up in no time, whether you're doing small repairs or whether you're welding a bucket back together that's out there tearing through permafrost. It'll dial you right in. It's very fine to where you can be welding on something that's, you know, probably a little too thin for the rod you're using, or maybe something that's a little too thick, and you can adjust it around and use what you have out here. You know, we don't have everything you always need, so we have to take a lot of scraps and try and make things out of. Today we've been using some old pieces we have laying around and cutting some steel to make pullers. You know, and it's just what you have to do, and the Millers are a big part of helping us put everything together to keep us running. You know, this site's so big up here, you can't really bring the machines to you all the time just because of the distance we're at. So we're taking the welder right there when stuff's breaking down, right to it. We got it mounted on my service truck, and you know, it's a big enough welder to get all the jobs done, but you don't even notice the weight back there in the back of the truck. When I'm using my 325, you know, with the auto speed, it's using only the amount of power it needs. The fuel savings on that welder is amazing. Like I said, I literally probably, I'm trying to think how many times I've filled it up. It's just unbelievable. You work and work and work, and you look at it and it's still full. You know, I think a lot of that is with the Excel power. A lot of times we're running grinders and whatnot, and that welder will just sit there and idle along, where you hear other guys with other kinds of welders and they're screaming along just to run their grinder, and this thing's over here idling, not having a care in the world, and putting out probably more power than what they are. Not only are you saving fuel, but you're saving time, because you're not having to stop and constantly refuel your welder. You know, it's a great deal. You just start it up in the morning and you know you're good to go. I've had and used several Miller welders, and I've had no problems with any of them. They've been great. I have a 212 auto set at home in my shop that I use all the time. It's been great. I got the 325 on my truck. There's no other welder I'd want to use.